Welcome back to the channel, neophytes. Today we'll be looking at the Enneagram 8. This won't be a cute internet version of the 8 as a strong protector or a confident leader, but instead, the Naranjo version. We'll be looking at the Enneagram 8 under the lens of lust, vengeance, intensity, domination, and the refusal to be weak ever again. The Enneagram 8 is one of the most misunderstood types because people often reduce it merely to anger. And the Enneagram 8 is more than just anger. The 8 is actually instinct under pressure. It's like appetite turned into identity. This is where the person learns that life is not something you wait to receive. It's something you take directly. And at the center of the Type 8 is the belief that weakness is dangerous, that softness can be used against you, and that dependence can humiliate you. If you do not claim power, then someone else will claim power over you. So, this type becomes force, it becomes impact and intensity, and underneath all of that armor is often a tenderness that is buried deep down because the Enneagram 8 had to exile their tenderness in order to survive. Before we can move on, we should understand a few things about the Enneagram 8 and just get rid of some of the stereotypes and shallowness up front. Basically, Enneagram 8s are not simply confident leaders or people who just go around protecting others. That can be a part of who they might be, but that's not who they are at their core. At the core, they're a lot more primal. Enneagram 8 is what happens when a person learns that softness is unsafe and that dependence is humiliating and power is the only thing that keeps them from being controlled. This is a gut type. But it's not anger like an Enneagram 1, where the anger is moralized and turned into correction. And it's not like the Enneagram 9, where the anger is buried under inertia and resistance. The Enneagram 8 is much more direct. It's embodied and it's fused with appetite and instinct and immediacy. The basic posture of an Enneagram 8 is, I will not be weak, I will not be owned, I will not wait for permission, and I will take life directly. This is why an Enneagram 8 can seem blunt or forceful, decisive, and hard to intimidate. They don't want to be managed or softened, restrained or pitied, or made to be small. Their ego structure is built around never again being at someone else's mercy. So when we say that the passion of an Enneagram 8 is lust, we're not just talking about sexual lust. In Naranjo's framework, lust is a passion for intensity. It's the hunger for more sensation, more pleasure, more confrontation, more impact, more power, more life. The Enneagram 8 does not want to lightly participate in existence. It wants to seize existence. They want to feel life within their body in action, in conflict, in intensity, in appetite, and in risk. Lust is the 8's way of forcing life to answer them. If the world feels cold, empty, dead, hostile, The Enneagram 8 will turn up the volume. They may seek speed, danger, sex, food, money, confrontation, rebellion, power, physical intensity, loudness, or excessiveness, not just because they are impulsive, but because the intensity makes them feel alive. There's often a hidden deadness underneath all of this, a place inside that the 8 does not want to feel helpless, empty, small, or dependent. So instead of collapsing into vulnerability, they move toward more stimulation. They do not say, "I feel empty," they say, "Give me more." The fixation of Enneagram 8 is vengeance. However, this doesn't mean some long, dramatic revenge plot. With an Enneagram 8, vengeance is often immediate. This is an instant refusal to being humiliated, controlled, used, or made powerless. The Enneagram 8's inner logic says, "I will not be the one who gets hurt. I will not be the one who gets used, and I will not be the one who waits for justice. Instead, I will take justice into my own hands." And this is why an Enneagram 8 can react so quickly when they feel betrayed or challenged. The response is not always calculated. Sometimes it's reflexive, and the body just reacts before the mind even has time to soften or think. For an Enneagram 8, accounts cannot be left unclosed. If someone crosses a line with them, an Enneagram 8 feels compelled to answer it, not later, not after processing, but now, in the moment. That's why an Enneagram 8 vengeance can look like confrontation, intimidation, retaliation, dominance, or simply walking into every situation prepared for war. The Enneagram 8 vengeance is not always a plan. Sometimes it's more like a posture towards the world. Something like, "I will never be the one who's under someone else's boot again."
Hey, Days. Let anyone in your room yet? It's good to be home. Hey, Torch.
Hey, Lisa.
You miss me?
Not much.
Get it to her room, better.
Who's that with Georgia girl?
Come on, please, don't give me a high.
Where's Jamie? Where's Jamie? Who are you? Huh? Why? Why? Where's Jamie?
Back off her.
Fuck off me! You weak people. You're all weak. Fuck!
And that brings us to the core wound, a denied childhood. This doesn't mean that every single Enneagram 8 has the same exact childhood story. That would be silly. But symbolically, the Enneagram 8 is a child who had to grow up too fast. The child who could not afford to stay soft. They are the child who learned that being small and needy or gentle or afraid was not safe. So they became self-reliant early on, and they stopped expecting protection. They stopped asking for gentleness. and they bury the part of them that needed care. Then they call that burying of themselves strength. This is one of the most important things to understand about the 8. What looks like power may have been forged in a place where vulnerability was not an option. So the Enneagram 8 does not simply become strong. They exile the part of themselves that need protection and build an armor around the wound. And eventually, that armor becomes their personality. So when an Enneagram 8 says, "I don't need anyone," we should hear the deeper wound underneath of it that tells us that I learned not to need anyone because needing was too dangerous.
I guess you should just come with me.
Why? Because you think I can't put up posters on my own? It's upside down, isn't it?
The Enneagram 8 defends itself through hardening, and over time they become less touchable. They desensitize themselves to fear, guilt, hesitation, dependency, emotional pain, and even tenderness. Where another type may freeze, doubt, adapt, seduce, withdraw, or overthink, the Enneagram 8 instead intensifies. And they move into action, they confront, they push forward, and they meet fear with force. This is why 8s can seem fearless. But often, it's not that they have no fear. It's that fear gets converted into movement, anger, adrenaline, or control. They would rather be feared than pitied. The 8's world can become divided into hard categories: strong versus weak, real versus fake, direct versus manipulative, and loyal versus treacherous. This gives them clarity, but it can also make them brutal, because once the 8 has placed someone in the category of weak, fake, or treacherous, their compassion may shut down. Their defense protects them from being hurt, but it also limits their ability to be touched.
There's a sign. Hello, Susanna. Is this the professor's wife?
Lady, back off. No, you were spitting on. I'm sure he was begging for it, and I heard it was like a pencil anyway. Some advice, okay? Just don't point your fucking finger at crazy people. Let go.
Did you enjoy the fresh air, Lisa?
Yeah, I did, Val. Thanks.
Good, because it's the last time you're leaving the ward.
Is that a dare or a double dare?
So next, we'll briefly look at the SP8. This is the most earthy, concrete, and survival-oriented of the Enneagram 8s. Here, the lust moves into the material world, so we'll see it manifest in appetite, territory, resources, food, money, body, comfort, possession, and physical security. This subtype is often less verbal and more tangible. They may not need to explain themselves much, but they simply act. They handle things, and they make sure they have what they need. The inner phrase of the SP8 is, "I need it, I want it, I'll get it myself." This 8 does not want to depend on anyone for survival. They want control over their environment. They want to know they can eat, protect themselves, provide, possess, and satisfy their needs directly. Their lust is not necessarily loud in a theatrical way, but it's practical, bodily, and immediate. They want life in their hands, not as an idea, but something that they can touch, own, eat, and use, or command. Next is the sexual 8. This is the most relationally volcanic version of the Enneagram 8. Here we see that the lust moves into attraction, fusion, jealousy, intensity, testing, and domination through the bond. The sexual 8 does not just want a calm relationship. They want a bond that feels alive. They want heat, passion, and they want proof. They want to feel like the other person can withstand them. The question underneath the sexual 8 is often, can you handle all of me? But when the love feels unreliable, the sexual 8 may replace love with possession. Instead of simply receiving love, they try to secure it through intensity, control, jealousy, testing, or dominance. This subtype can confuse the emotional intensity with intimacy. If the relationship is not intense, it may feel dead to them. And if the other person does not resist or respond strongly enough, then they may seem weak. If the other person pulls away, the sexual 8 may tighten their grip. Underneath the possessiveness is the same core fear. If I surrender, if I need you, if I let you matter, you can wound me. And last is the social 8. This is the Enneagram 8 of loyalty, brotherhood, protection, rebellion, justice, and my people. Here, the lust moves into group power. It becomes loyalty codes, alliances, protection of the vulnerable, war against betrayal, and the creation of a strong inner circle. The social 8 says, you don't betray your own. This subtype can look more noble or protective than the others. They may defend the underdog, challenge corrupt authority, protect the group, or become the force that stands between their people and the threat. But the shadow is complicity. Social 8 can excuse too much for their own people. They can become loyal to the tribe over truth. They can protect through control. They can say, I defend you, but under that defense is, therefore I decide for you. So the social 8 can be heroic, but also dangerous. Their loyalty is powerful, but it's not always clean. It can become tribal law. So we'll turn away from the instincts for now and go back to the core of the Enneagram 8. Vulnerability is not automatically experienced as healing for them. It's often experienced as dangerous. To need someone means they can hurt you. To love someone means they can affect you. To depend on someone means they can fail you. To soften means you may lose the power that kept you safe. So the Enneagram 8 may want to love intensity, but also defend against the surrender that love requires. This creates a painful contradiction. The 8 wants a real connection, but they may test it, dominate it, challenge it, or try to control it before it can control them. Love is dangerous to the 8 because love makes another person real enough to wound them. So instead of saying, I need you, the Enneagram 8 may say, prove yourself to me. Instead of saying, I'm scared, they might say, don't betray me. And instead of saying, I want closeness, they may intensify, possess, confront, or command. The vulnerability is there, but it's protected by force.
Huh? How do you like it? They tell you all the time what to do, what to think, what to feel. Do you want to be like a cheap? Like all those other people, man? Bah!
I don't have to listen to this.
You want to work 8, 10 hours, you own nothing, you got nothing? Do you want a chivato on every corner, man, looking after you, watching everything you do, everything you say, man? Do you know I eat octopus 3 times a day? I got octopus coming out of my fucking ears, man. I got the Russian shoes, my feet's coming through. How'd you like that? What do you want me to stay there and do nothing? Hey, I know criminal, man. I know a thief. I'm Tony Montana, a political prisoner from Cuba.
One of the biggest stereotypes about the Enneagram 8 is that they are protectors. And while they can absolutely protect, we have to be careful not to just romanticize that fact about them. Protection from the Enneagram 8 is often forceful. They can be loyal, brave, and self-sacrificing, but they can also be possessive, dominant, controlling, and commanding. The shadow of Enneagram 8 protection is, I defend you, therefore I decide for you. And this is why the Enneagram 8 can be both genuinely loyal and genuinely tyrannical. They may protect someone from danger, but then they become the new authority over that person's life. The shield that becomes the scepter. The Enneagram 8 may not notice when their protection starts swallowing someone else's autonomy. They may believe that they are helping, defending, or keeping people safe, when really they are controlling the situation because vulnerability feels intolerable to them. And this is the paradox of the 8's power. The same strength that can defend can also dominate it. So now we're at the emotional center of the Enneagram 8. They don't lack tenderness, but rather they guard it like it's contraband. Beneath their armor, their force, intensity, their refusal to yield, bluntness, the appetite and the domination, there is often a childlike, tender core. But that tenderness was buried long ago in the name of survival. And this is the tragedy of the 8. They may become powerful enough to survive the world, but they're too armored to receive the love that they survive for. They may win every battle and still lose the ability to be touched. They may become untouchable, but untouchable also means unreachable. So the real wound of the 8 is that they are too strong. It's that their strength becomes a wall between them and the softness they secretly need. The 8 does not need to become weak, but rather they need to discover that tenderness does not mean defeat.
It's not that. I mean, aside from this, I guess I wanted you there a bit at my party.
So the growth path of the Enneagram 8 is not about calming down. That's too shallow for them. The 8 does not transform by becoming weak, passive, or harmless. Instead, they transform by becoming strong enough to stop confusing tenderness with defeat. Growth happens when strength no longer requires cruelty, when independence no longer requires isolation, and when love is no longer experienced as humiliation, when softness is no longer treated like surrender, and when power becomes protection without possession. The armor served a purpose. It helped the 8 survive. It kept them from being crushed, controlled, or violated. But healing means realizing, I can choose when to wear the armor now. I do not have to live inside it forever. And tenderness is not weakness. It's evolved strength.
On this one, you want to talk about today? Nobody said that. You don't have to be. Look, I've got these, and you've got those. They will. Come with me. Come on. See that gutter running along the canal? That's where Clagger got his foot stuck running from enforcers. They thought it was funny, so they left him there. He was out all night before we found him. That sign, you see it? Milo tripped over his own paint bucket and nearly fell off trying to draw a giant middle finger. His ass made that splotch. And that, when I was a kid, some guy took my favorite toy and threw it up there. I used to come out here at night and stare at it, hoping maybe the wind or a bird might knock it down. We've all had bad days. But we learn. And we stick together.
The Enneagram 8 is the type that turns their pain into force, their helplessness into control, and their hunger into conquest. But beneath the armor is not just emptiness. Instead, we find a child who learned much too early on that no one was coming. We find a child who's learned to stop waiting for rescue, who decided that meeting was dangerous, that softness was unsafe, and that power was the only protection they could trust. So the path of the 8 is not to lose their strength. It's to recover the tenderness that they had to abandon in order to survive. Because the highest version of the Enneagram 8 is never the person who can dominate the room, or win a fight, or intimidate every threat. The highest version of an Enneagram 8 is a person who is powerful enough to be gentle. That is the real transformation of the Type 8. Not weakness, not submission or defeat, but strength with a heart still alive inside of it.